Welcome to this next Elan assembly video, my Lotus Elan. This video is going to focus on the dashboard and also show the rear lights as well. This dashboard is manufactured by Nick Martin of the Fine Woodworking Group. You'll find him online if you searched the Fine Woodworking Group, and Spalding, which is where he's based. His web address I think is nicholas-martin.co.uk, and he's made a beautiful job, and he appears to know Elan and Plus 2 dashboards really well, and the different grains that were used at the different periods of manufacture. I think he's refinished and remade enough that he's got extremely good understanding. So I was very pleased with the result. I have rear lights fitted. Took me a long time to get decent chrome rims, which if you have been searching for these lights yourself or you know them, they pit really easily. Anyway, I've got them fitted finally. Just have a look in the boot at how the arrangement works in the boot. Just have a light. So you can see they've got these metal covers over to stop anything inside the boot smashing into the light fittings. It's got access holes to get through to the fixing nuts. So if you need to change bulbs, you have to remove, basically remove all of this and the light from the car. And you'll see this strap arrangement, which is trapped behind that metal protection piece, and it's got a buckle. These were on the car when I got it. Didn't really understand what they were for. Just show you the top so you can see. Ooh, the light is bad. I'll show you on the other side. Here's the other side. You can see them just trapped by the metal as the bolts to the bodywork. They just run behind through it, and they're just trapped by that fixed in place. I didn't know what they were for, but I understand now that they are for strapping the roof bars, or the bars that go across the cant rails for holding the soft top on this car. So the idea is they strap across that, and so this is why this support bar, which comes up to where the lock is, can unclip and swing out of the way, so you can get these bars across the top of the lights and strap it in place, and this can then clip back in place. Who knew? Not me, but I do now. So pleased with that. Just whilst we're in the boot, you can also see the speaker that I've now got fixed in place. It's a slightly larger one than was on the car. Oh, and number plate light as well, which that's one of the originals. There's another one of those goes on the dashboard. This rubber bezel surround was new. Bought it from the 26R register. It's got a little notch at the top, which is a bit annoying because there's a version of that with a switch on, but this Series 2 car definitely had them without switches, because those are the originals. Assembling bits into the dashboard. That's the glove box, which I've got to fix to these metal brackets, which look a bit corroded. Naughty, didn't repaint them. Does look a bit antique behind there, doesn't it, with all these old cables and things. So here it is. A lovely new dashboard. Oh, there's the lamp that looks the same as the rear number plate lamp. Okay, been fitting components in, and clean them up. And I'm just looking at the bottom edge at the moment and some silver strip, which will go around like this. So there's certainly this Series 2 had this silver strip round. This isn't the original, which I don't know that it's available, but this was a T section. I was gifted this, so I can't tell you where else it's available. Let me just refocus. So this was a T section like this, And I've cut that piece off, which leaves me this, and it's just going to hook over the edge when you put it on the edge. Oops. Like that. So it'll just give the right appearance. And I'm going to have to fix it onto this edge. Let me show you the original dashboard, that is. So here's the original dashboard that was in this car. I had it renovated and it is a beautiful grain. So that's definitely the original dashboard. Unfortunately someone added 2 holes which have no purpose in the original car. They'd put lamps in. So I've decided to get a new one. But it is a very nice dashboard. And we can see on the edge, you can see witness where there are little rust marks where the original fixings were. I assume they're panel pins. So I'm going to use some little brass panel pins to hold that edge on. Shame I can't use this dashboard. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And I spoke to the gentleman who made the new dashboard, and I will get his name and tell you it. So I spoke to him about filling these holes, and he was pretty certain, even if he could match the grain, that you would ultimately see them. So I'm not going to use it. I've attached the silver trim now to the bottom edge of the dashboard with little panel pins. So that's it, just tacked in place. Oh, we're playing with the switches. That's the light switch. Very pleasing, sort of tactile and audible feel. These ones are, yeah, quite nice. Just 2 positions, and this middle one. It's the least tactile and horrible sounding switch you've ever heard. It's because it's got a slider. Oh, it's a bit dark. Let me just get a light. Yeah, this is the switch. I'm not sure I'd show it you really because it looks as though it's in a disgraceful state. But it's a little slider that runs up and down a coil. So the coil obviously it's like a what do you call them? Variable resistance anyway. So depending where that is, that resistance will change, and I believe it's to change the brightness of all the lamps in the instruments. So apart from that one, the others are jolly pleasing. There we go. I'm just looking at the back of the dashboard. So there's the very pleasing switch. It's a nice clicky noise. That's the light switch. That's the ignition switch. You'll see I've left bits of cables on some of these. I imagine these are going to get replaced with the new ones from the loom, but I left them on just for now. That's the cigarette lighter. So, nice switch, noisy switch, nice switch. And then the back of the instruments. I haven't put this one in yet because it's got the big long capillary for the water temperature, so I'll only put that in once the dashboard's in place. These I've just tied up. These are for the bonnet release. And this one is the heater cable, which is the original. I've just polished it up a bit. Let me just focus in on that. So this cable is the heater cable, and it's got like a square section spring or a flat section spring, and then the other one is the choke cable, which has got a sort of more rounded springy spring. Not sure if that made sense. And the heater one is a solid wire inside, and the choke is a multiple strand wire, which is a bit more flexible. I think the reason this is a solid one, the heater one, is because it's got to pull and push. There's no spring return on it, whereas the choke I imagine has spring return on it. So I'm not going to fit a radio, I'm going to leave this blanking plate in place for now, maybe sometime in the future. There's a number being stamped in the back, 1218 I think that is, so that'll be the manufacture date, and a new glove box, which is a pretty faithful replica. Here's the original glove box, by the way, which is like flock coated inside, which the new one isn't. I've just got it to check the size because I've offered the dashboard up and had the choke cable and the heater cable through, and it looks as though it's going to be a right sprottle. It looks as though it's going to be a right job getting this in place. I'll have to get some light, but down there is the heater. No, I'll get a light. Just on the glove box. This one isn't flock lined, but it looks a very good size for size replica anyway. Yes, so could be tricky this, I think. You can see the flexible hose that connects the heater seems to clash perfectly with the glove box. So, we'll see. I'm using the wiring diagram and marking off when I've made all the connections. So let's just have a quick look behind. No steering column in the way yet. Don't know if you can see much. Let me move a light in. So there's the main light switch, bottom corner, and in the distance the switch for the wipers, which is, I've taken the pump off the back at the moment, which needs repairing, and the ignition switch on the far side. I'll take some pictures from the other side, and then looking up that way we've got cables going through for choke, and bonnet release at the top. Might not be able to see, but switches, the three switches in the middle, and this is with it sat some distance away, so it's going to get quite tight to pack it all in. And then the back of the instruments, still haven't put this one in at this side, which is the oil pressure. So I've been working it out, it's worked out pretty well, but thank goodness I've kept the old loom and marked it up, because there was some connections on the back of the rev counter I wasn't sure about. And I found that I've got here this little loop. Let me just refocus the camera. So I've got this little loop in the this white wire, and you can see the sort of bracket arrangement that fixes to the back of the rev counter, and this wire ultimately goes to the coil, and it's going to pick up I guess every time that switches, so it must induce a current in the rev counter, so critical. And thankfully I found it in the old wiring loom, and I must have left it there on purpose so I can see how the wire fed through, so that'll be useful to see. Yeah, and all these other cables marked up, which have been very useful just to guide me where stuff goes. Pictures from the other side. There's the ignition switch. Sorry, almost too much light. Just turn that down a bit if I can. The good news is there's numbers on the back of the main light switch at the other side, and then the ignition switch, which match up with the wiring diagram. The colours are very useful, and the colours on the loom so far have been perfect. Here's the view looking down on the dashboard. So there's the little loop on the back of the rev counter. I've connected green wire going in there as well. Connected all the cables up, fuel gauge, green wire, green black. Sorry, might have been out of focus. So it's a hideous jumble of wires once everything's connected in. So I'll try and tidy it up and work out how to make it look, well, it doesn't look to look reasonable, but just be reasonable. The only ones I've got spare now are a green brown, which I'm really no idea. I've looked on the later wiring diagrams there. Green brown wires seem to be linked with electric windows, but I can't understand why this one would be here. And then I've got some earths, some blacks, and another one there. So I've got these earth connections, one of which has a spade, which I think might be associated with the electric windows. There's an earth wire there to go on the other instrument, light, and I'll need to connect in a... oh, there is the other instrument light, I've just got it dangling down here. There's the flasher relay attached to the bracket for the steering column, and I've got the... oh, there's a spare red white there. And then these other ones, I think, are, yeah, they're my extras. So grey and black are a socket, and this pink is override, which I think must be the fan override. Oh, and that's an earth from the fan motor. So, fun. Oh, and I've got to make sure I connect these earths in. Okay.